Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. The great Z will join in the second hour of the program, but that is not stopping us from greatness. In fact, we will be joined and are joined down in Charlotte by Gerard Cherry via the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. We have football tonight, kids. 3 preseason games on the slate. The Colts and the Ravens, 7 o'clock on NFL Network. Bengals and Eagles, that is a 7:30 kick. And then the nightcap is Raiders and Seahawks at 10 o'clock. Gerard, it is all gotten very real very quick, my friend.
It certainly has, because when you start having a slate of games on a Thursday night, you know it's really here. And obviously come tomorrow, we'll be fully paying attention to what's going on, especially me, because I'll be on the sidelines. Yeah. I'm certain you'll be wondering as well what is going on with our football team as Shedeur Sanders is going to take the field as a starter on Friday night. So, yeah, man, it is here. You feel it. But the crazy thing about it, Bo, is that it feels like it snuck up on me too.
Yeah.
And that I feel like it kind of went by fast.
I agree. It's like you blink and all of a sudden here we go. And honestly, we're going to blink and it's going to be Sunday and the Cincinnati Bengals coming to town here for the regular season opener. I did want to ask you something at your various stops in the league. What was your preferred approach to training camp and more specifically your preferred approach to preseason games?
My preferred approach is what they're doing right now as far as the preseason is concerned. 2 weeks straight of double days was not for the faint of the heart, Bo. It broke you down. It physically put you in a space to where you thought you were dying, and you woke up feeling like, what's the meaning of life? I do think, though, that the best way to prepare to play a football game week 1 at a high level is to play during preseason games and to participate, because if you're asking a player to go 3 to 4 weeks without actually tackling or being tackled and to go into an atmosphere where you will not experience the same energy level again until the playoffs because it's opening week as far as the intensity may be concerned, or unless it's a rival, then that is a disservice. Not almost, it is a disservice because you need to acclimate, you need to prepare, and that's what a preseason game is for. So yeah. I always felt that, hey, the best thing to do is to play.
Yeah, the reason I ask is it seems like I talked about a little bit yesterday with Nathan and Andrew as well, and you as unlike the three of us who only dreamed of playing in the National Football League, you actually did. What jumped out is like we have a very big disconnect right now between how team by team is handling this. Like the Bengals up now, all of a sudden Burrow's going to play tonight, so all the starters are going to play tonight. They're going to play a lot next week. The Rams still aren't playing anybody. We're not going to play any of our starters and people who we think are going to be contributors in the game on Friday. Meantime, Carolina's playing their starters for a couple of series. So where do you think this has happened that there are so many teams that don't really know what to do with the preseason?
I think we just got away from being uniform, and that's a good thing at the same time because as we learn and give credit to the San Francisco 49ers of the 80s and the Denver Broncos of the 90s, but that was really based upon people coming from the Bill Wall Street, like a Shanahan, where they weren't even in pads during the entirety of a season, Bo. Yeah. And what were they winning? Super Bowls. In a much more physically demanding league than it is right now as far as what you're allowed to do from a tackling and hitting standpoint. So that right there got people thinking like, there is another way in which we could do this that is efficient, that's effective, that works for us. But here's the thing for us, and for example, use the Bengals, who we're going to obviously see week 1. They have been atrocious, the Bengals.
Yeah.
It takes them a few weeks, and they just came to the conclusion, okay, it's preseason. We take it off. We don't take it serious, and we don't get our sea legs until the mid part of the season, and it's too late. So, again, Joe Burrow being out there, that's them drawing a line in the sand saying we can no longer just take preseason as if it's a throw-off and like, okay, we don't need it. And we, to our credit, have did what? We're tackling in practice. That was something I was just like fascinated by and encouraging. And the next step may be for us to start playing guys more so in the preseason than we have in the past. But make no mistake about it, it's team by team, and the teams have discovered that, hey, we need to, in particular the Bengals, we need to play the preseason. If not, we're going to be suspect. And they have been suspect.
Yeah, it's so wild how and the crazy thing is like with Burrow tonight, like it's a good idea to play him so long as he plays his 12 snaps and gets the heck out of there without an injury. But if someone rolls up on his ankle, then they're going to be second guessed forever. I mean, and there is no
Right.
sure thing either, right, Gerard? Like, you mentioned, we talked about the Rams, obviously, who participate in nothing in preseason football at all, and they've won a Super Bowl. And so there is, I guess that's the thing that all of these guys are kind of grappling at, isn't it? Which is, we don't really know what's right. There isn't complete groupthink on how to handle it. And so in the instance of Zach Taylor, look, we're 1-11 in our first 2 weeks the last 6 years. Like, we got to change something. And so they're throwing something at the wall. Kevin Stefanski did the same thing with the physicality of this camp. We had some injuries. We had some stuff that was happening. We got to change this up. So let's have a more physical camp. And he's having one now. So it's funny, like, we give all these coaches credit like they have all the answers to the test. They don't. And a lot of times they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Right, trial by error. And if you have a situation where you're 3-14, heck yeah, you're going to try something new. You think you're going to try out what you did last preseason? No, that would be foolish, because you can really say, okay, what's the differentiator here? It has been our approach. How do we attack preseason? Were we ready for the regular season? And looking at last year, in our case, I would say flat out no. And then the numbers don't lie for the Bengals. 1-11 in 6 years? Heck yeah, you better change your approach. But here's where it gets beautiful for me, Bo. We have so much going on with analytics and all these numbers and everything else that you have some people who will argue the case that, okay, you don't need to run as much. You don't need to do as much physical exertion to sustain yourself through a season. And with that 17-game threshold now, you have to change your approach. And I'll listen to that, because I'm always talking about guys running out to practice and doing extra work. And I know some guys who run out to practice right now, they're dealing with some hamstring stuff. So what is that fine line? What is sports science saying? But football's been played for over 100 years now. You like to think some of that terminology, and though it's old school, has some merit and can be married with the idea of what's taking place now from the technology standpoint, how you can monitor things. So we still haven't got to that place. And like you said, a lot of times you are throwing something at the wall, hoping it sticks. And I hope in our case, this more physical practices does stick, because we need it.
Yeah, we do. We really do. You were at the practice yesterday. Sounded like it rained before, up until, and then was good during, and then right after you got it again. What type of work did we get in yesterday in your view?
It was a very professional practice. I keep going back to that, Bo. And the reason why I say it was a very professional practice, there was no animosity and hatred and great dislike between the two teams. There was a mutual respect that we're here to work. They got the work in. There are a couple skirmishes and scuffles. You're going to have that anytime you have alpha males in the building, right? So that's a given. But it wasn't to the point to where no work was able to be accomplished or get done. So a lot was done and accomplished. I felt the offense looked really good in the running game, had some nice plays in the passing game as well. And in my opinion, was the best that they looked as far as going against the defense, because our defense has been completely dominant during the course of training camp. The only thing that I say did not like and was not a good was the fact that we had a lot of pre-snap penalties. That has been an emphasis on us correcting and getting that right, and we certainly did not do that yesterday. And it comes down to this. Yes, you're hyped, you're excited, but you still have to keep your composure and not lose yourself. And this is where it matters most, where you can't lose your composure in situations like this.
Do you think how much do you contribute is the contributing factor to those pre-snaps? Was it mostly, so it was offensively, is that, how much of that could be just the revolving door at quarterback?
That's a good point, because the whole idea of getting used to one cadence does matter, and their feel and how they call things and how they operate, orchestrate as a line of scrimmage. That does factor in. That is a fair point. But at the same time, too, there's still something to be said about not moving too early. And why are you nervous? Why are you jumping off sides? Why are you trying to do too much? Just do your job. And it probably has to do with that fact that you're going against a guy you've never gone against before. Yeah. And there is a little bit of nervousness with it, anxiety that goes with that. But you have to overcome that. And that takes place in practice. So, and also, too, Bo, in fairness to the guys, this is a time when you're supposed to be making those mistakes.
Yeah.
This is a time.
Yeah, it definitely is. The thing that I would, the things that we, this is what I'm curious about it, your answer to this one. So, over the first couple of weeks, we're, like our defensive line absolutely wrecked our offensive line, not just but I mean, in the depth of it, the second and third string guys. Did you see that against Carolina? I guess from a positive standpoint, did you see our incredible defensive line depth, line after line after line, have that same type of impact against Carolina's offensive line?
I didn't see it to the magnitude of what we've been doing against our offense.
Yeah.
But I did see us make plays. I did see us winning. Like, for example, we did the one-on-one drills for linemen, and just to make it clear, it's not truly one-on-one. You basically have one half of the line go against the other half of the line and see if you can get to the quarterback first. And it seemed like 7 out of 10 times we won that drill, and I saw that. And then as far as passing in the team drills, to be frank with you, Bo, I watched a couple plays. My eyes were on our offense and whether or not our offense was going to be able to move the football against the Carolina Panthers, because they had not been able to do it against our own defense. And I am here to report and happy to report that we were able to move the ball effectively against the Carolina Panthers defense.
So in what you saw from our offense, I mean, look, it's a one joint practice in August. But if I were to say to you, because look, we have to face reality. Like, Kenny Pickett's dinged up, and we don't know what that's going to look like. But he's been dealing with a hamstring for a while. He's doing 7-on-7s now, but no 11-on-11 work to this point, unless I'm mistaken. Unless he got some yesterday, but I don't think he did. So he's not having to be hit or move from the pocket. Whether it's Kenny or Joe, and if you don't have Judkins at the start of the year, and right now he's not signed, he's not in camp, and he's dealing with off-field issues, what do you think we are going to try to be offensively?
I think we're going, whether or not Judkins or whoever the guy is at the starting position, I'm determined that our position is going to be, we're going to be a tough ball control offense, run first mentality, grind it out, beat you down, make a limited amount of mistakes, don't turn the football over, and put the pressure of our defense on you to generate turnovers and quick scores with that. That, I think, is the approach. And every now and then we're going to take a play action pass shot because you're going to be running the football ad nauseum. That's how I see it going down. And I don't care who the quarterback is, you'll be able to pull that feed off. And it's going to be a lot of Jerome Ford and right now Sampson and whoever else makes the squad at that position.
Yeah, I wonder if Kenny can't get healthy, and we said this yesterday on the show. We were talking about to me it feels like Kenny Pickett was going to be the starter unless he couldn't get unless something happened. He was bad in camp, and we said that all summer long. Like, that's not new. I think we've been saying that all summer long. But this is a lingering thing that you're dealing with. So then, if it is Joe or Kenny, whichever one it is, the emphasis based on what you just described, and I think if it is Joe, that's the part that really has got to be emphasized for a guy who's in year 18 is really no turnovers. And that's hard because what Joe is a risk taker. So if we're going to have success early, that's going to have to all be reined in.
Right, exactly. It's got to be like, hey, Joe, we understand be aggressive, be aggressive, but we cannot take those type of chances, man. And you don't want to have a guy the worst thing a coach can tell a guy is don't make a mistake, right? That's like the worst coaching anyone can do for their pupil, their player, or whoever. You don't want that on the forefront of their mind because they're going to go out there and make that mistake. But there is something to be said about, okay, we need you to be in game manager mode here. We need you to be in take what the defense gives you mode. And, yeah, every now and then, yes, you're going to squeeze something in a tight place because you trust your arm and believe in yourself. But also we need you to understand we got to keep this bad boy close as well. So that's going to be a challenge. But I will say this back to Kenny Pickett, Bo, which I'm glad you brought this up. I think one of the reasons also that he was appealing, and I felt as well as you, I think we're in agreement here, that he was being pushed more so to be that guy opening day, is because of his run ability.
Yeah.
That you could throw the RPO game into there. And Kevin likes that as part of the arsenal, and he brings that. But with this hamstring situation, you have to put that on the back burner now.
That's 100% right. Yeah, I mean, there was a mobility part that they liked. Look, they're not running the wing tee or anything like that, but they like the ability for the quarterback to take off and run and to provide that. And obviously, that's very different if it's Joe. So no, I think we all are reading that part with the Kenny Pickett part accurately in terms of what they were thinking and how this was going to go. And we'll see if he can get healthy. It's a good sign that he's doing the 7-on-7 work, but really next week's a big week for him, especially the joint practices in Philly when you're going to have two of them. Can he go? I mean, that's that, and I think if he can't go full speed next week, then I think you kind of know your answer to the question, right, at quarterback, that it'll be Joe. But because I think Kenny really needs to have some work. I mean, you can't just have a week and then play games.
Yeah, well, here's the part that's also a big question mark. Now, Shedeur Sanders is going to go out there tomorrow and start.
Mm-hmm.
What if he has an insane stat line, Bo, of like 3 or 4 touchdowns, throwing at 70% again? What do you do with that?
It's a hard thing too, because when all that we can do is judge what we see on the field, because you and I aren't in meeting rooms. We don't have access to what's happening on, behind closed doors. We don't know what's going on in quarterback conversations. We don't have any of that. All we have is what we've seen in practice. And the kid can throw the football. We've all seen it. He can throw the football. So what does that look like tomorrow? There's obviously something that and Kevin said this, that, he's just on a little different path. So what do you do if the path, in terms of like in the building, in the meeting room, in the plays and all of that, if all of that is still a little bit behind where the other guys are, but you get on the field and you play well, like exceptionally well, as you just described, how do you come to grips with that? I don't know. I honestly, I'll be with you, buddy. I have no idea what to expect tomorrow night out of Shedeur. I know he can throw the football. I've seen that, but I have no idea.
And I've seen situations, Bo, where I was like, okay, all right, dog, you're okay in practice, and you're certainly not paying. And I'm not saying this is Shedeur, so let me put that out there right now. You're okay in practice. You're not okay in meetings, and you go out, and guys are going out there, Bo, and they have just flat out balls.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I've seen coaches be like, okay, we're going to accept the fact that this dude is not the student of the game type. And I'm not saying, again, this is Shedeur, but, again, there's some dudes who just are football players is what I'm trying to say. And they just play the game, and they play it well, and they may not do the other things to your liking, but they can simply, when push comes to shove, produce on the football field. And that really puts that makes your evaluation extremely hard-pressed, because it becomes, okay, is it an entire body of work, or is it just that body of work when the lights come on? Because we have a saying, guy can look amazing in practice, but when those lights come on, when you're actually in that stadium, are you a baller or are you a follower-offer? And you want to be a baller, not a follower-offer, for sure.
Absolutely. No, there's no question. And yeah, I mean, it's just it's going to be really fascinating to see how they go about their business. It's going to be fascinating what Kevin asks of him and what he responds to. I mean, it's going to be it's easily the most anticipated preseason game in a very long time. To have somebody like this. I mean, he's so known. He's such a commodity. You know this in the content business too, buddy. Like, if not everybody's knee deep in the muck like we are on this on a day in, day out basis. They don't watch all the football that we watch. They're not paying attention to the college game the way that we did. But if you are somebody who just has a very middling awareness of football and who's good at it, you know who he is. He's known. People know who he is, right? Those of you out there listening, your wives and girlfriends know who he is. Your little kids know who he is.
Right.
So
which is weird.
It is, but they do. And so, I have no idea what it'll look like. I know that Kevin will put him in the best position to succeed. I know they will put stuff out there that he's good at. He's really good at layering throws. He's very anticipatory when it comes to throwing. We've seen all of that. But just the operation of in and out of huddle, in and out of plays, what does that look like? I have no idea what to expect on that, just because we haven't seen him do much.
Right. And that's the intriguing part. So it is going to be fascinating.
Did you get a sense of who? Obviously, Kevin said none of the ones, but like, how do you have a sense of how we're going to start tomorrow? Like, who do you anticipate being the receivers out there with him? Who do you anticipate being the backs behind him? Is Fannin going to play?
I think Fannin will play the simple fact that he's a rookie. I see it, and Kevin pretty much said that Judy and Tillman are not going to play. So. Scratch them out of the receiver position. So everybody else beyond that, so you'll get a healthy dose of Johnson and Gage and whoever else is on the roster at the receiver
Floria,
position.
all those guys. Do you you think Deontay will play then?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because that's still in the we need to see mode. And to his credit, I watched him yesterday. He had some really nice routes and a couple opportunities. Had they looked his way, he would have scored. So he's coming along, man. So, again, this is still part of his process of just going out there and proving the skeptics wrong and the critics wrong about who he is as a receiver. He has a great opportunity here, and I could see a situation where, okay, if you and Shedeur connect, man, that's going to do nothing but help your cause.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. And I mean, so I'm just thinking about this in terms of like what that offensive line will look like up front. Zinter obviously didn't make the trip. We know that. I don't anticipate any of the starters playing. So it'll be twos and threes up front is probably what's going to be there.
Maybe Jones? What's that?
Maybe
DeJuan?
Boy, I wouldn't put him out there with the injury issue. I probably wouldn't. But I mean, I'm more cautious than that. I'm always like, I just put him in bubble wrap, like wake me up when it's time to play games that matter. I think that's tricky, but like that's interesting. And then running back wise, I'd assume you'd see Sampson. I mean, Sampson be a heavy dose of him, I would think, in this thing tomorrow.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, too, Bo. If you are one of these guys who are 2s, 3s, and 4s, you have the greatest opportunity ahead of you right now. But you're actually getting reps and they're not being taken by starters, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, that's
how you have to see it.
Absolutely. Tremendous opportunity. Everybody who plays tomorrow night, they're going to be able to get it. They're going to be able to get that opportunity. So, look, it's going to be a massively consumed NFL preseason game on a Friday on August 8th. I mean, that's what you're going to get tomorrow night. I mean, it's disproportionate for the importance of the game, but all eyes are going to be on it, certainly. Anything else stand out to you yesterday in the practice?
Yeah, I appreciated the fact that, again, based upon last year and our approach, it's down to business. It's a matter of fact. You're getting out the guys, and you're bringing a physical brand, and it's just professional. So I appreciate that part of it. And I felt, again, from an offensive standpoint, that they really stepped it up. They were not being pushed around. They weren't being dominated. That stood out. And Jerry Jeudy also stood out tremendously. He's in a class by himself. He was clearly the best receiver on the field. Clearly.
Yeah.
And so you never know after a great year how a guy's going to come back, or they're going to rest on their laurels, or they're going to put in the work. Bo, he's putting in the work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, I wanted to ask, what did you – is that the first time you've seen Bryce Young in person?
Yeah. Well, yeah, first time up close like that, yeah.
What – like Z and I were talking about it yesterday, like his size is alarming, is it not?
Yeah, he's undersized.
Does it show up? Like, how does he look?
I mean, well, he looks like a guy that's, gosh, and I'm trying to say this as respectfully as I possibly can. It's I mean, if you're like 5'11", you got a bunch of 6'5", 6'6" guys in front of you, it almost looks like, okay, this is a parody. That's what it looks like. Is that he's here for a day with the Panthers, and obviously he's there every day.
Yeah,
he's their quarterback.
Yeah,
that's how it looked to me. But I'll give him this though, bro. He's at least thicker than I thought he would be, as far as not frail. So that was a good sign for his well-being, because as you know, you can get thrown around and tossed around a lot in the National Football League. So I would give him credit. He looked thicker than what he was last year, in my opinion. I'll say that much.
Yeah. They're going to be an interesting team this year, because they could be frisky in that NFC South. Obviously, Tampa's at the top of it. New Orleans looks like they're headed for a full-on rebuild, and it'll kind of be between them and the Falcons. You know, if one of them can track down, they got some nice young pieces on this team. Now, you did not see Horn. You didn't see J.C. Horn yesterday because he had the car accident, so you didn't see him against Jeudy.
Yeah, but I saw him talking a lot. I didn't see that.
Well, that's his MO. I think that goes all the way back to South Carolina days, buddy.
Oh man, he was going back. I think at one point he was getting into it with Deuce Staley. It went from Deuce to talking to one of our linemen, and from that to going back and forth with Jerry Jeudy. But they kept it amicable and with respect, no doubt about it. But it was just like, my man is in, and this is one of the things that used to grind my gears with preseason games. It was like, okay, dude, you got your hat turned on backwards. You're eating the sunflower seeds. You don't even have your shoulder pads on, just your jersey. Stop talking to me. You're not involved in the game no more. And in this case with Horn, he wasn't practicing due to a minor car accident, so we hope he's okay. But, yeah, that dynamic was fully in effect yesterday. He had a lot to say.
Well, he and Deuce go way back. They both went to South Carolina. So I'm sure he was very familiar with Deuce from the fact that they were both Gamecocks in college. So I think all those things add up. That's pretty good.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, man,
Yeah, that makes sense.
appreciate you so much. Great talking to you. Thanks for the insight on what you saw yesterday at the practices, and look forward to the call with you and Andrew and Z tomorrow down in Carolina. Thanks, buddy.
No problem, Bo. Take care, my man.
All right, there he goes. The great Gerard Cherry joining the program from Carolina via the Twisted Tea hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. As I mentioned, 3 preseason games tonight. Colts and Ravens go first at 7, then Bengals and Eagles at 7:30, then Raiders and Seahawks at 10 o'clock. The Colts-Ravens game and the Raiders-Seahawks game are on NFL Network. I think is the Bengals game on here locally?
I
don't think
would
it
think
is.
not.
Yeah, I know it's down in Columbus. It's on one of the affiliates down there, but I don't think it's on one of the local affiliates here. So I'll tell you what, I don't need to see Joe Burrow do much of anything. I know they're trying to change mentality, but like I would bubble wrap him. I don't need to see our guys doing that. I have a very belief of no need to see guys who matter in the preseason in terms with the top of your depth chart. It is a Mailbag Thursday edition of the program. Send in your questions to Gabe at Browns_Daily, and on the YouTube stream we will tackle both of those things. Second hour of the program, Z and the Hoff will join from down in Carolina, so you have that to look forward to, which is nice. We'll also hear from Mason Graham, who went one-on-one with the Hoff yesterday. You have that to look forward to. Also some comments from Dan Patrick on the quarterback situation here with the Browns, with Shedeur Sanders set to make that first start of his NFL career tomorrow in the preseason opener against Carolina. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco from the podium coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sportsbook of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Your chance to be inches away from your favorite players. They take on some big opponents this season. Field seats at Cleveland Browns Stadium put you up close and personal with the thrill of the game. Limited quantities are available, so get them soon before they're gone. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/field seats to secure your spot now. We head to the podium presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is quarterback Joe Flacco.
Hey, Joe, so how
You're down.
get some different faces, get some different looks today.
Yeah, it's always a little bit fun. I mean, back in the day, it used to be like a nice break in camp, but today it was, it's not as much needed, but it's always good to go against somebody else, see some different jerseys over there, and kind of put yourself to test a little bit.
A lot of flags out there.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a sloppy day offense?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. At least I think it's been a point of emphasis for us, like this camp, pre-snap penalties. Like sometimes the stuff during the snap, like when you're playing, it's the pre-snap ones is the one that we can control. It's all mental, and I think we did have some of those today. And like I said, it's been a point of emphasis for us throughout the whole camp. So to come out here and get against another team where maybe you're a little bit more revved up, I think that showed today. So we need to, you just need to refine a little bit, and this is probably a good environment for that because it allows you to realize, like, man, maybe I went a little overboard, and it allows you to kind of, the next time you're faced with that, to relax a little bit more and just go play your game.
It's been that big of a problem back home in the 2 weeks.
I think it's been something that we've been constantly on. Like there's been days where we've been really good, and there's been days where we've not been good enough. I definitely think today was a little bit more so, and I think that's natural, but it's very controllable, so you don't want to see it.
Joe, what do you feel like's better and is getting better now that we're in week 3 of camp and you've had 2 full weeks for your game first?
There's a little bit of it that's tough to say because, there's only a certain amount of reps out there, but guys are competing. Guys are really getting after it. I think they're starting to, as much as they can, learn a little bit about themselves and be able to dig a little bit deeper and realize they're starting to kind of, the light bulbs coming on of what it's going to take to be that consistent, team that we want to be. I think this organization's been close over the years. We've had some good teams here. Now it's just about getting that consistency, that competition up every single day to push ourselves.
What do you expect to see from Shedeur now that we know he's going to get the start on Friday night?
Oh, it'll be interesting. I think we'll all be, sitting there watching and be excited for, football to be going real time. And I think he's probably excited about that too. I mean, your first time to go in the NFL, I remember mine. I mean, I didn't get to play until the last 2 minutes of the game, but it's something that he'll remember forever. I mean, most of us have dreamt about this moment, since we were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. So for him to get a chance to go out there and actually take the field, even though it's preseason, we're all going to be on the sidelines and at home and enjoying it. So
Most anticipated exhibition of his effort.
for sure, it's so funny because I don't really think of it that way. We're just kind of going to work every day and doing our job, and we're in the room together. But yeah, that'll make it exciting.
Judy had come to get you today.
Yeah.
One-handed tips. Now that you've played with him for 3 weeks, practiced with him, what do you think? You got?
Yeah, Jerry's good. Yeah, he's a difference maker. He is. I'm excited for him, because I think obviously he's not with the team that he was drafted by, so I think he's got a little chip on his shoulder, just like all of us do in this league for one reason or the other, and you can tell that he's a difference maker. So I'm excited for the things he's doing.
Joe, how do you notice Shedeur kind of progressing just away from this, away from when he's out there, just in the meeting rooms? I mean, have you noticed a difference in him?
I think he's come in from day one with a pretty good, head on his shoulders, a pretty good method about how he thinks he should do things, and I think we've all been in that room together and all picked up little things from each other. So I think he's just staying the course and and continuing to try to grab a thing here and there.
How about the dynamic of the room? Have you come in back in my day? We did 2 days stuff.
It's funny because I really don't want to be that guy, but every single day there's something that comes up like that, and then you get in the moment, you start telling stories, and I can't help myself. So yes, there's been a little bit of that.
So
You and
Joe,
Tyler Huffman, cross paths before.
We didn't. No, we didn't. It's funny though, because I was telling a couple of the guys as I left the huddle today, he's got the biggest smile on his face, holding his hand out, giving you a high five, got the biggest smile on his face. It's a reminder of he just feels blessed to be out here and be on the grass playing football, and we talked Baltimore a little bit because he was in Baltimore and spent some time with those guys, so we kind of know what that's about. But he seems great, honestly.
He's replaced you after Lamar took over.
That's right. Yeah. Well, like Lamar was there, and then he was the year. I think he was that next year. I think.
Joe, how is it that the 40-year-old guy is the only quarterback in this competition that has not missed a snap, a drill, a rep because of soreness, injury, or whatever?
Hey, listen. I think. I mean, who knows why I'm the one guy, but I think the fact that I am 40 and here is just like I've been fortunate with my body. I've learned how to take care of it. I mean, there is part of me that wishes we were doing 3-hour practices because I could show that I could last through those too. It's not that much of an accomplishment to kind of come out here and make it through a training camp. But I do feel like if we were grinding 3 hours, 2.5 hours every day, I could still go through that too. I wish I could show that a little bit. But hey, I think some of it, a lot of it is taking care of your body and learning how to do that. You gain knowledge as you're in the league. But also, like, you just, throughout my football career, I've had a couple injuries, but most of the ball, I've been pretty fortunate on just what I've been given and the situations I've been given. So,
Joe, 1 today and 2 next week. Is there a place you want to be or think this offense needs to be when you come out of Philly and head to that home stretch?
Listen, you love to just come out here and go against teams and just gain confidence. You want to see guys, like, you want to be able to look in guys' eyes after your rack and, like, see them be excited. So I know that's not like a specific goal or anything, but when guys start to get excited about like what we could be, like you can feel that, and that does matter. Good teams, they know how to win because they believe throughout the whole 60 minutes that they're going to win. So it would be really big if you could start to get some of that, and you can see the belief in guys.
How many joint practices did you get early on in your career?
Not a lot. Not until like maybe my 6th year or something, 7th year. We practiced against San Fran. Early on, we did not do a lot.
So this
Yeah.
is as productive as 2 days?
Oh, it's interesting. I feel like before I came in the league, like there was a decent amount of it. I could be wrong in saying that, and maybe it kind of there wasn't for a little bit. I think I think a lot of coaches have relationships with each other. It's a nice way to break up camp. It's a nice way to compete. It seems as though everybody's doing it. I think there's definitely some positives in it, but also like it's not all positive. You have to be willing to like take a travel day and another travel day, and one of those teams has to be willing to do that. I think there was a time where you just wanted to go. So you have to you have to be able to manage that throughout camp. You can't just say, hey, we're going to have joint practices and we're going to miss a day here because we got to travel and we're going to do this. I think when you do it, you just have to be aware that you're going to maybe miss out on a little bit of like actual field time. So you got to make the most of it when you do have it, and then you got to make the most of these practices when you do them.
Joe, I saw one interview where you were talking about how much you still want to start in this game. Can you kind of address that? You're not here just padding the college flag. I mean, you're going for it here.
Yeah, listen, that's why we play the game, right? We play to play. That's what gets us all going. You do gain perspective, and when you go take that, just like I was talking about Tyler, like when you're out in the grass in practice, you can remind yourself, wow, this is like cool that we're out here. But the end goal is to be the guy on the field playing the football games. That's why we all do it. And that's as simple as it gets.
What is the next step? Do you feel like over, as you go through next week in Philly? Is there a specific thing you feel like this has to be point of emphasis? This has to be clean this up. Anything in particular you feel like is the next step?
I think we have our goals and like how we want to play the game. They're not necessarily like hurdles to get over, but they're standards that we hold ourselves to. And I think when you go and you practice against other teams, when you practice against yourself, you have to hold yourself to those standards. And the more that guys start to do that and you feed off of each other, the more you start to see results. When you're going in these practices, yeah, I guess you could set certain goals, but those things are hard, like to get like an actual measurable thing until you start playing football games and tackling for real. Even when we go from thud to live in our practices versus ourselves, there's a difference, So we just have to make sure we're holding ourselves to the standards that we've outlined and we can all see every single day. And I think as long as we're doing that, then we're moving in the right direction.
Joe, with Kenny being a little bit banged up now, and Dylan being a little bit banged up, I mean, can you start to see the vision? Can you start to feel like maybe you're going to be the guy?
Listen, I'm not trying to look into that too much. I can say that when you get a little bit, it's still not like, okay, I went from 3 reps here, 3 reps there, to a little bit more, not like a ton more, but a little bit more. I mean, just that little bit. You know, you can start to feel like yourself getting a groove, and you calm down a little bit. It's just human nature, like when you're getting 2 reps, 3 reps, to like, oh, this has to be perfect. And when you feel that way, you're not going to be as good. So to be able to like relax a little bit, let it loose, and like get a little bit more, it just feels right. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to look into what it means, but it definitely feels good to be out there.
Is it difficult not to rush that process? I mean, I know Kevin and Tommy have talked about being process driven. You've talked sort of about being process driven. How difficult is it not to rush, not to kind of get out over your skis and try to rush?
I'm not worried one bit, man. I'm just out here enjoying it and doing the best I can every single day, trying to show these guys that, man, I can do it. You should have confidence in me. When I talk to my wife at night, maybe she's not as patient. But listen, I'm having a lot of fun just going out there and slinging it around in practice right now, and I'm doing a good job of just kind of keeping my feet where they are, and that's all I can do right now.
When the guys see that, when they see a veteran like you guys it's complicated, do you think it helps them to also kind of take that feet off that, take that?
I hope so. I think I do think, yeah, like no matter, I don't care if you're a veteran or not, but when you have guys on your team that remind other guys just by the way they do it, that, man, this is just a game. Like, take this weight off my shoulders and let's go play. That's going to help everybody play to their best ability. And I hope I can do that.
So have you seen
Last one?
Dylan and Kenny kind of handle the short side of it because they've both been dealing with injuries, and you talk about like the importance of those reps, but how do you see them kind of handle that part of it as they're not able to be in every team?
Yeah, listen, they're great. I mean, they've been doing a great job. I mean, you can tell, like with Kenny, he's been out like the last week. You can tell, like, you can just see it on his face that he's itching to get back out there. And they've all been great in the meeting room, very attentive and asking questions, and it's been a great room so far.
All right, there you go. Joe Flacco from the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Coming up next, the Hoff goes one-on-one with rookie defensive tackle Mason Graham and Dan Patrick with some thoughts on our quarterback situation for Friday night's preseason opener. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Enter the Dog Dash Sweepstakes presented by Milkbone for a chance to have your pup compete in the annual dog races during halftime of the Browns-Dolphins game on October 19th. Grand prize include 2 season tickets for the 26th season and Milkbone for a year. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/milkbone to enter. This is yesterday after practice. The Hoff, one-on-one with rookie defensive tackle Mason Graham.
Hey, what's up, guys?
You're down 2.5.
Draft choice Mason Graham as we're going through joint practices with the Carolina Panthers. Mason, how was your very first offseason getting ready for your very first NFL season?
It was good. I was just kind of going different places with some of the guys. Me and Malik Collins were kind of just traveling around Houston, Arizona. We have the same D-line trainer, so we kind of do everything together, work out, lift, and do that type of stuff, and just build the chemistry for season.
Anything you're doing differently getting ready for your first NFL season? Because NFL is obviously way different. Like, it's much more about you. The onus is on you to go and find the good work. You're not working out with your college team. The workouts are not quite as structured. So anything that you were doing maybe a little bit differently this year to get ready for that NFL season?
I feel like it's just, all the vets told me to, find a routine, so I've kind of been doing that. Just start off just with a routine before practice, and then kind of just the off-season routine, eating right, massages, working out, good workout schedule, and then really just knowing yourself and what you need, and then what you need to get ready for season.
Obviously, training camp in the NFL, a little different than what you went through in college, but we've been hearing your name a lot out there. How are things going the first couple weeks of training camp?
It's going really good, just learning process. There's ups and downs, especially with a new scheme, trying to learn a new attack defense instead of, just reading and taking on double teams the whole game. But I'm starting to get it, and I'm getting those instances of, flashes of, what it's supposed to look like, and I'm feeling good now.
How does this defense help highlight the skill set that you have as a defensive tackle?
Yeah, I feel like it helps, we have all the guys in the room that can, fit this defense, attack, penetrate, get through gaps, just wreak havoc in there, create negative plays. Sacks, TFLs, all that good stuff.
What's going through your mind when you're lining up and you got big number 95 out there next to you and you guys got a game called?
It's really cool, just seeing, obviously he's a freak of nature, so he can kind of do whatever he wants out there with ease. But, it's just cool to have someone, play alongside someone like that.
So we just finished up our first joint practice against another team. What was it like playing against somebody from a different color jersey in your first real NFL battle against somebody that, hey, you might see at some point during the season?
Yeah, it was really good, just getting those reps against someone else. We've been going against each other for quite some time now, but good to hit someone else and get a different look of maybe a different offense or some different schemes, and kind of just building, our defense together and seeing how we compare.
What was the scoreboard out there in one-on-ones? How'd you do today?
There was a few bull rushes that could have gone either way. Kind of just it was just good work.
All right, undefeated in one-on-ones today. Congratulations. Browns rookie Mason Graham enjoying his first joint practice against the Carolina Panthers. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, there you go. The Hoff and our first-round pick, Mason Graham, joining us now from Charlotte. Dr. Z. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, baby. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, here I am. I mean, we're out here. We got a little more than an hour left. Give me the meal. What'd you eat last night? You guys have a good meal? Did you break some bread? What do we got?
Yeah, so I went. Gibbe had the coaches show tonight. We'll have this fancy show. We'll go out after tonight, Gibbe, which I'm very much looking forward to spending time with you. Went out last night to a really good restaurant. So Siciliano is a big food guy, as is the Hoff, and I guess there's a website called eater.com that you can go to that in big cities that tells you like the 15 best or the 15 most up and coming. So we found some good places, and let me see if I can find the name of it. Yeah, so this place we went to last night is called Leluia Hall in Charlotte, and it was a restaurant that was put into an old church. It was actually a church from the early 1900s, and actually a congregation had started using that very site where they then built that church in the late 1800s. And so it was very cool architecturally inside, and then they had awesome food. We got like a bone marrow, like big bone marrow bones with some shrimp in this awesome sauce. They had a great hamachi crudo. And then they had these little tacos. They were mini little blue masa tacos with one had Wagyu tartar in it, another one had lobster in it, another one had was hamachi jalapeno. Those were awesome, and then the mains were great, and they had awesome cocktails. It was just a very It was a very cool place. Like, it was a place that if it was in Cleveland, I would frequent it quite a bit. It was awesome.
What was the name?
It's called Leluia, Leluia Hall.
Huh. Okay.
Or Leluia. It's
As
a
you were
new place, and
as you were describing it, there's a place in Charleston called Church and Union that a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of people go to. And then I just pulled that up because I was curious because I missed you saying the name. And oddly enough, there's a Church and Union in Charlotte as well. So as you were describing that, I thought maybe that's what it was. But
Oh, wow.
Somebody sells entirely. That's something they do down there. Like you take an old church and turn it into a restaurant.
yeah, it's very cool. They say it's a steak and surf concept. Our menu at Leluia Hall is centered around prime cuts of steak and entree seafoods, mini tacos, house-made tortillas, fresh take on steakhouse sides, full raw bar, thoughtful desserts. They had a Hawaiian roll bread pudding yesterday that was quite delicious.
Okay.
But yeah, so they're located in 1915 church building on a plot of land where a congregation first began meeting in 1896.
Oh, how about that?
It was very cool. Very
that's
cool
very
place.
cool. We just are coming out of that interview the great Hoff did with Mason Graham, and obviously we spent so much time talking about the quarterbacks, and we'll bring on the Hoff in a second, and we'll get into a little bit more into the Shedeur, what we expect tomorrow night, and all of those things. But just in terms of Mason, the thing that jumped out to me there in that Hoff interview was at Michigan, and you and I have talked about this, but just so the audience understands, at Michigan, and he was dominant. Just ask the Buckeyes. He was a lot of times he would just take on blocks and kind of read, and he wasn't someone who was trying to get upfield and get into the quarterback, and that's not what he's being asked to do here. So, and I warned everybody, like defensive tackle, do you notice it every single snap? Defensively, maybe not, but what he's being asked to play here is something where you ought to be able to notice it more, and it's cool to hear him acknowledge that.
No, and I think that they believe that in they have three defensive tackles who can all rush the passer. Malik Collins, we've talked about all along, professional pass rusher, Mason, and then Mike Hall when he gets back, and hopefully that's sooner rather than later. But no, Mason is going to be asked to go upfield, to go attack. There was a rep that he did a TE stunt with Miles in the joint practice yesterday that he was able to come through, get the sack, and was really... It was, as Coach said, very high level stuff. He's been spectacular. Joe's been very impressed with him, especially once he got to watch the tape of that side since he was with our offensive line. But yeah, I think that, listen, when you're drafted 5th overall, like there's a belief you are going to be a disruptive player. Double-digit tackles for lost plays in the backfield. 6-7 sacks. That's, to me, that's kind of what they envision for Mason Graham. And I think there's a good chance that this is a guy where they think that, if you remember. Back with the Niners, they had Justin Smith and Aldon Smith, and they would run a ton of games together, and both of them were phenomenal pass rushers. Miles, obviously, on his own right, Hall of Famer, first ballot, a Hall of Famer, Gold Jacket, all of that. But I think that they think there's some of that. They can get those guys together in a very productive way in some of those games, similar to a Justin Smith, Aldon Smith, and I think that could be very difficult for some opposing offenses to handle, which would be great.
All right, buddy. We're going to run the three-man weave with the Hoff on the other side of this quick time
Yeah,
out.
baby.
Get the Hoff's view of what his week has been like, coaching some offensive line. We'll go around the league as well. A lot to get to on that side of things. Plus, it is a Mailbag Thursday edition. Send your questions in to Gibbe at Browns_Daily. Also on the YouTube stream, we can answer them there as well. A ton of them already in at this point. So we'll get to all of that in the second hour of the program. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Add more fun to your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today, get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Are you on a veranda, Dr. Z?
No, I'm on Gibbe in Gibbe's room on the the couch. There's always a couch, and there's just a window behind me. That looks like we're just in the hotel room.
God, I thought for a second.
No, it's raining out there. It's been raining and misting literally since the second we've got here.
I see.
It's been raining.
For the audience who cannot see, out Z or Gibbe's window that Z is sitting in front of, I see copious amounts of foliage. You're out a little ways.
We're at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. Yeah,
the 49ers,
home of Larry Ogunjobi, where he was the first ever draft pick, first NFL player from the school.
Are they the 49ers?
They are. You are correct, sir.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. They don't recognize Steve Young. They only talk about Joe Montana.
If you're them, don't you just do the Niners uniforms except make it your color? I mean, that's what I would do.
I think their colors. Yes, but I'm pretty sure it's green. It's a green and gold, maybe, but green and yellow.
I know green's in the mix.
They are
green and gold,
green and yellow.
Yeah, no, they certainly do not just do the 49ers uniforms, which you're absolutely right they should do. They should lean into gold. It should be like a true gold, 49ers gold.
Yeah, I'm seeing some gold. I see like some Niners gold, like a soft gold, Vegas gold look.
That's their gold rush uniform.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's what you're going for there. All right, look, this was like this is a road trip with two tasks, right? There was the work that was going to be done for our ones that is done. I mean, that's done. That was done yesterday, and today you do a walkthrough, and then tomorrow none of them are playing, so for them it's kind of like off time. Then there's this game that we're playing tomorrow where all of the attention of the National Football League is going to be on Shedeur Sanders. We know that. It's going to be 2s and 3s for us, but some 1s for them to start for a couple of series. So it's almost like when you set out to do something like this, you almost have two football teams is the way it feels like to me. What is it like for you down there?
Yeah, well, I mean, you have, and what, Kevin Stefanski, after watching the tape, one of the things that he was very excited about in the joint practice is that, like, our best players played the best. So the guys that are going to be, your starters, the people that you're going to be counting on, they had got good work in joint practice. I'd also point out that for the first time ever, and starters participated in this, that, we had 30 minutes of live. So if you're kind of looking at the 2 live periods plus this joint practice, they basically have already under their belts, our starters, close to a full game's worth, or close to, 3/4 of a full game's worth of actual competitive reps under their belts, which is a very different state of affairs than prior to the first preseason game that the Browns have ever had. They didn't have these live tackling periods, nor did they have of joint practice week before the first preseason game. In fact, the only time the Browns have ever tackled, under Kevin Stefanski in the preseason or in training camp would have been the year in COVID because there was no preseason.
Right.
So you had to do something. But in the years that there have been, so we've got the live plus now we've gotten this joint practice. So you've gotten a lot of work for those guys, and then it's everybody else that are competing for roster spots. You will see, I think, all of the rookies. They're not sitting any of those guys, so maybe not a ton of work for the guys that you like Graham and Fannin that really are going to play big roles, but you'll see the rookies. And so, in some ways it is kind of two teams from that standpoint. Next week will be the same. I think you're going to get a ton of work from your top players after Philly, or in those 2 Philly joint practices, and then you will not see them in the game. And I think that a lot of the decisions for this football team in terms of the direction that we believe we're going, quarterback and all of it, they're going to want to have a lot of those made, I think, after that week in Philly to get this football team ready, to open the season. And that's when you kind of make that transition from development and evaluation into, okay, we have to get ready for, the Cincinnati Bengals. And as we talked about, and I don't know if you talked about it in the open, but we talked about it yesterday, I think laid it out perfectly for people. The situation here with this quarterback situation is, they like Kenny Pickett a lot. If he's able to go, I think he's in the mix. And if he's not, for example, able to go next week in Philly to the level you want, then you might have to make that decision. And you go with Joe Flacco, who's been the best quarterback, certainly the last few weeks, because Kenny hasn't participated really over the last, 2 weeks now.
Yeah, this is the second full week. I mean, you and I were talking about this yesterday, and look, and this isn't scores. Like we're long. There ain't no scores in any of this stuff. I mean, you're training camp mode, so we're 0 dark 30.
Yep.
But just from the standpoint of like I went to state school, but the way that it looks to me is what you and I laid out all summer long, which was that Kenny Pickett was going to start. You and I have been saying Joe Flacco break glass. If that can't work, we've been saying that since May, and that's the case. And so I think if anything, like the notion, this was never probably ever a 4-person. You can't have a true 4-person quarterback competition.
No.
I mean, it's the two vets. And that's
by the way,
kind of
the
way
reps
it goes.
would suggest that.
Yeah, that's
the
what I'm
reps
saying.
would suggest that.
Follow
Shedeur
the
Sanders
reps.
has never gotten a first team rep. So he's not in the competition. I do think Dylan Gabriel was, in it to maybe is in it to a lesser degree because they like him a lot. And they think that, the way that everything that you don't see between the white lines, he's been off the charts. And, he's had a couple rough days throwing the football between the lines, but he's also done a lot of good things. And so they are very pleased with him. But yeah, follow the reps. This is That's not what it was. And I think we always kind of had it. The reality was for week 1, it was going to be Flacco or it was going to be Pickett. And I think all things being equal, Kenny Pickett has a great shot to be that guy, but all things are not equal. Now, if you go and miss 3 weeks of this period, it's not like he was the starter here last year, then, Joe Flacco's a guy they're very comfortable with. And I think right now, next week is going to be critical in this. I think that Kevin Stefanski wants to have an answer to this quarterback situation, name the starter, coming out of that second preseason game. And they say you can't make the club in the tub. Well, you certainly can't become the starting quarterback if you are not participating, right? So I think next week in Philly, and I'm talking 11-on-11 team moving that. I'm talking full go participation. If you don't have that, I think that then, that's Joe Flacco is going to have, earned it from what he's seen by being available the whole time, and the fact that we know he can throw the football and we know he can score. The guy threw for 300 yards every game he started with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Monday. Was that the last one we were? Was that the last training camp practice? Was Monday? I think we were all out there.
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
And that was Monday.
That was Monday. Yeah. And as you're watching that, and you see Dylan throw, and you see Kenny throw, but then you go, okay, but they don't do 11s. So then you say, okay, and we've been talking about this week, like Kenny has to play. He's got to get into some practices, and it's just it's getting late quick, I believe is the phrase. Like it's August 7th, but it's
getting late early.
Yeah, it's all those things are happening. All right, in terms of tomorrow night, and we'll have all day tomorrow to talk about it too. How do you think Kevin Stefanski and Shedeur Sanders and Tommy Rees and the brain trust of this offense will try to go about their business tomorrow night? What do you anticipate it looking like?
So I think the big thing tomorrow, and I think the question you asked was, what do they want the offense to look like?
What do you think it will look like? Yeah. What do you think? What do you think our approach will be offensively tomorrow for Shedeur Sanders?
I think you want to see Shedeur be successful, and you want to see Shedeur go out there and operate. I think that as much tomorrow, from a Browns standpoint, from a fan standpoint, as much as watching Shedeur Sanders once the ball is snapped and what he does there is going to be everything before that. Are we able to get the plays in? Are we able to get lined up properly? Are we able to not have, a lot of pre-snap issues and false starts or misalignments or legal shifts? Can we get that execution down? Because that isn't, I know people don't think about it, but it is a huge part of the leap that Shedeur Sanders has to make from college to the National Football League. So that's a big part of the evaluation tomorrow. And then the rest of it, I think they're going to try to put him in things that he is very comfortable with. So I think you could see some shock. I think you'll see some shotgun. I think you'll see some 4-wide spread, things that he would do, at Colorado. And I think you're going to see him obviously do the things that we're going to do. Get under center, get the running game going, give him some play action boots where he can get on the edge, use his arm and his eyes as he's very good at making plays outside of the pocket. I think you're going to want to see him get rid of the football quickly to be decisive with that, because one of the knocks was the sacks that he took in college. Can he can they show progress on that front? Because when you get down behind second and third team offensive lines in the NFL, the protection's not going to be as good. Their teams are better at their second and third team ends typically than teams are on the offense at that point. So I'm curious to see how that plays itself out, but I think that's what it's going to be about. You want Shedeur to go out there, and I think he's going to play a lot. I don't know if he'll play the full game. I think you'll see Snoop Huntley at some point, but I think he's going to play a lot in this game. And I'm very, very obviously curious to see it. I think that,
man.
given that there have been the injuries, and obviously to Kenny Pickett, it's been a couple of weeks now, and we'll see if it continues to go. Given the injury to Dylan Gabriel and the fact that he's still not getting those first-team reps, I think that tells you a lot. And I think there are a lot of people that are saying, oh, man, there's a lot of national talk right now, right, that Shedeur Sanders is being set up to fail, and that is bollocks, as Ozzy Osbourne would say.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's outrageous. First of all, he's not playing with the starters in this game. He's playing with the twos, who he has gotten the reps with, certainly this week. And that's where he is, on the depth chart. I think it's pretty clear where he's at on the depth chart based on the reps. And I said it, there's a lot that goes into that position other than what people can see on a quick, clip on X or what, you see just in terms of just throwing the football. There's nobody questions whether or not he can throw the football. It's all the other stuff that goes into playing quarterback that we knew he had to play some catch up on. And he's done a great job with that, but he still has to play that catch up. And I think this game will tell a lot about how he's done with that, and how that operation goes will be just as important to see as what happens, before the snap as what happens after the snap.
Yeah, it's going to be it's one of the more anticipated preseason games.
Oh,
just because
yeah.
he's starting too, and the fact that
And
he hasn't had all those reps, but everybody's been following. Everybody knows who he is, and he's starting. Usually you have to wait for a rookie, even ones that are drafted highly.
And dude, and he, because of who he is, it is even more. I don't know the last time, and you can correct me if one pops in your mind, that a fifth round, fourth string quarterback was the main talking point on national sports shows.
Oh God, no. Yeah,
Never.
It's kind of like there's a Tebow thing to it, like these super duper star college guys like Tebow,
Megastar.
Manziel, but they were first round picks. People
And
forget
they were
that both were
Heisman
first
Trophy
round picks.
winners.
They were Heisman Trophy winners. You have to go to that. You have to find somebody. That's the other thing too. Like Tebow and Manziel both played in the SEC. Tebow won national championships. He won 2. He played for 3 of them. But when you're in that college game, you're ready-made stars. You are known coming in, so everybody knows who they are. And then because of who his dad is, his upbringing, and all of it, he's even more known. Like I was saying this with Gerard earlier before you hopped on. Like he is in the content world. If you're at ESPN or you're at Fox or wherever the content world is, you're at Barstool, Outkick, whatever, and you're looking for something to talk about in the summer, not everybody is knee-deep in the muck on college football the way that I am, or knee-deep in the muck the way that we are with the NFL. But you know who Deion Sanders is, and you know who his kid is. So it's an easy entry point to content, much like Arch Manning is right now at Texas. Everybody knows that name. So it's an easy thing to have an opinion on. You can't have an uneducated opinion because you know who they are, so it minimizes that a little bit. And I think all of those things feed into it. No, you've never had a fifth-round pick talked about like this, ever. But there's never been a fifth-round pick quite like him.
Agreed. It is certainly it creates for a very interesting situation. It creates for must-see TV, must-listen radio for those who are going to listen to the radio broadcast tomorrow. And that's what the fun of it is that you can have all this talk, you can have all this speculation, then you get to go play the game and let the competition unfold and let the chips fall where they may, as they say.
Is Hoff
he is
on?
not being set up to fail. Though.
Oh, God, no. Good Lord. Come on. How stupid.
That take is ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Is the Hoff on headset? Is that? Do I see the Hoff?
He is. He's here now, baby.
Hoff.
He's live and in color.
Live and in person right here with the great Z. What's up, brother?
Did you bring meat sticks down there? The meat sticks?
So this has been quite a enjoyable, long journey. I feel like Feifel. I'm going west and hitting all the spots.
Feifel?
So when I started the Hall of Fame, I distributed a few there, then went to training camp, brought some beef sticks to my great friends here at CBD and some of the other great members of the Cleveland media, and I only brought one cooler full from Madison. So unfortunately, I am out because I've made too many stops and I need to restock. So next time, though.
When can we get
to bring some steaks?
When can I get like a Netflix model on the beef sticks? Like they just show up every month. Like I just pay you and the beef sticks show up all the time. When does that happen?
Old
you
Netflix,
are
the
now-
original Netflix,
Yes.
the DVD.
Yeah, that's
just
what I
showing
want.
up.
I want the physical.
red box.
I want the red physical box full of meat
Yes.
sticks coming up
Yeah.
every month. Where are we at on that?
You've now been added to our marketing department because that is the next thing we're working on. After we get through the Wagyu steak launch, we're going to work on a subscription model and then some holiday packages, right? Because that's really popular. I mean, that's how we use the beef sticks and the jerky in our family, right? Every day at lunch, Mommy makes the lunch boxes, and the beef sticks go right in there with a couple nice cheese slices.
Oh,
They're
baby.
always in the fridge, so when the kids come home and they need a good high-protein snack, either before they go to sports or maybe after they come home, boom, they're right there. And so
Love it.
always being stocked, it's so important with the beef sticks, right? You got to
critical.
have them there, and you don't want to think about it. It's critical. So thank you, Bo, for mentioning that. The subscription model, that's what's coming out next.
Got
That's
to be
what we
on
need.
it's like this is like a high class winery where you need to get on the list and you need
That's
to
what
get
I
an
want.
You'll get your
Yeah.
this is your allocation. Here's your
That's
allocation.
right.
Do you want to
The
purchase
allocation.
in?
I want
Yeah.
the beef sticks to become habitual. They're just there, and they're a snack that the kids enjoy. That's what I want. So that's good that
Love
that's
it.
happening.
Did you guys
now.
have a favorite flavor? Did you get an opportunity?
The
to
only
try
one-
a couple
All I got
different
was
flavors?
the really the
apple cheddar.
We got the apple
Yeah.
cheddar, which is a
It's a
delight.
dessert.
It was a delight.
Yep.
Yeah.
The jalapeno and cheddar, then that's my next favorite because I do like the jalapeno flavor itself,
Oh,
and then it's got
baby.
that little bit of a kick to it, and the creaminess of the cheese. It's next level. I can't wait.
Huff, you.
Do you have it?
Go ahead, Z.
I was just say. So what are the? Are those the two? Are there two?
No, then
what
we
else
have
we got?
teriyaki.
Teriyaki.
We've just got a regular, like, spicy one.
Oh,
This is
baby.
For people who
Where's-
like just that heat.
where's
All right,
that at?
See, you got that
Where
one.
is that at?
I'm writing your favorites down
Yeah,
on a
right
nice
there.
Listen to
master
this.
Excel
Spicy
spreadsheet.
is always easy for me.
What a delight! A true variety.
Yeah.
I love. I can't wait. This is so exciting, Huff.
And yeah, I was just going to mention our partners at Prem Meats who do all the processing and got involved with them because they used to do my deer processing and they made amazing bratwursts and sticks and all the things. So we've got a bunch of flavors that they've had recipes for decades that are awesome that we're thinking about trying out. There's a buffalo blue cheese one that they make with the venison brats, which it completely blows your mind. So I think we're going to do a brat and maybe a hot dog flavor with that as well. Possibly a beef stick version. You never know. That one is elite. That's probably my next favorite. But then some of like the mango habanero and stuff
Oh,
that
baby.
they make too.
Come on,
that we're thinking
Hoff.
about throwing in there with the jerky, right? Because I love a mango habanero.
Who doesn't?
And with a nice extruded jerky stick,
Oh.
it's incredible. I mean, I could talk about it forever, but yeah, we digress a little
we
bit here
digress.
because
No,
we're
this is
hungry.
good.
The
I don't know.
belly
No, I'm
is very
salivating.
full on this trip.
I was going to say, yeah, we're
but
not,
I'm still getting hungry.
yeah, we're not eating well.
Huff, what has this week been like for you? Running meetings. I saw a great pic of you and Dewan. My kids, when they first met you, like they couldn't believe how big you were. Like to them, you were like the biggest human they've ever seen. And then I see you next to Dewan, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's how big Dewan is. Like you forget sometimes. What has this week been like for you getting back in?
It's been amazing. Yeah, the great Jeff McDaniels sent me a picture of myself interviewing Dewan from practice on Monday, and I was like, who's that little guy next to the Browns player? Because I've never felt so small in my life except for the time I met Shaq, and he's about the best comparison you have with Dewan. And working with him has been so much fun. To steal a great phrase from the great Z over here, it was pure joy.
Pure
All
joy.
week, right? Because, like when you've committed your entire life to learning to be a left tackle, you've got some high-level knowledge that's very unique, and you can't just talk with the normal person on the street about, left tackle play and rolling this shoulder forward and staying square and do these things. But you get back into that space that you're so familiar and you're so comfortable with, and you're feeling welcome and warm and invited. It just feels so good to be able to use some of that knowledge and information that's been stuck in the back of your brain for several years. And it's so cool having somebody as receptive as Dewan is, right? When you tell him something, he listens, he writes it down, you see it on the field. And really as a coach or as a teacher, like that's the greatest satisfaction is when you see a guy that's maybe doing something not the right way, you're able to help correct it for him, and then all of a sudden you go out on the field and you see that growth and that improvement, and then you build trust. Every time you give him a little tip and he goes out and uses it, it gets better at something, that trust continues to build. You're building that trust in drops, and I think it's been really fun and watching him go from Monday's practice and then making the improvements, coming out, having a great practice against the Carolina Panthers on Wednesday, and then spending a little bit extra time now that we're in Carolina, we got a little more downtime, working with him, helping helping build his process, helping him understand some of the nuances of not just how you play on the field, but how you prepare for a practice, how you're critical of yourself, how you make improvements on a day-to-day basis. It really has been so much fun. I'm so thankful for the Browns being able to offer me this opportunity to double dip, to do the media side, to do the game, but then also sit in those meeting rooms and talk with those guys and, just feel like you're kind of a player again, at least enjoying the camaraderie and the brotherhood that offensive line rooms give you.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I've been told that there's going to be a big push on you tonight. You dine at a fine establishment to bring you in full time. I said,
oh boy,
they're looking for contributions. They might have a GoFundMe to see if they can get up to the Hops rate.
Well, they've put me in the right environment because I am very weak when I'm at a nice steakhouse and enjoying some good vino with the boys. I say yes to everything. There is no in my vocabulary.
Hoff, how well did you know Dawand before this week?
So I've actually known him fairly well because when he was drafted, he reached out to me. The Browns gave him my number and vice versa. And I always like to try to make relationships with the new guys that are coming on board. And, I'm not going to push my involvement or try to be overbearing, but I just want to make myself a good resource because, one, I enjoy it. Two, I'm a huge fan of the Browns. My family loves the team. We still follow. And so if there's anything I can do to help, I want to do it. If helping means stay the heck away, that's great too. Like, I'm okay with all those options. But Dawand's been very receptive and very open to having a friendship from the beginning. So we've built up a friendship over the years, and we've talked. And knowing that I was going to have a chance to be around, kind of up the text messages, communications, and just told him how excited I was. So we've built enough trust that I wasn't just some guy coming into the building saying, hey, do this, do that, whatever. And you had that level of baseline trust to be able to build on and that stepping stone to being on the field and helping work with him to the point where he's receptive to try some new techniques, some new tweaks to his stance. Whereas I think if you don't have that relationship built, it's hard to have enough trust to say, really, I got to go against Myles Garrett and you're having me do something that feels really weird and different and awkward. But I think additionally, it's the right time, at least for me, to be able to come in and help out a little bit because he is switching from right to left. Mm-hmm. So it's not totally a blank slate, but it's about as blank as it gets for a guy that's had starting experience and played in the NFL because he is trying to learn everything new on the left side. So it's a great opportunity for me and a great time to be able to get in there and help him as much as I possibly can, giving him little tips and tricks.
Because otherwise he would just think you were just a guy.
Just a bozo. Just some bozo.
Who's this bozo?
Can't run.
Who's this
tall, skinny guy coming in here?
This guy trying to push meat sticks on me. Get out of here, loser.
This guy's got all these meat sticks, man. What's he know?
By the way, he had a great one rep yesterday against the, I think it was the second-round pick of the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, Nick Scordum. I'm going to be careful with that name tomorrow.
Yeah, careful. Easy.
And he just threw him right on the ground.
Getting Dawand to understand how big and athletic and strong and powerful and long you are. That's like the first thing I said to him in the meeting. I'm like, how heavy are you? He's like, pretty big. And I'm like, in pounds. 365. I'm like, how tall are you? He's like 6'9". I'm like, dude, if you can take 2 quick sets and get back, ain't nobody going to beat you. If you can master that. Now, it's not easy, but it is the same thing every time. It's like having a great drive off the tee. If you can get good at that, dude, the rest of your skills are so good, nobody's ever going to beat you.
You're going to like this. So I was standing on the sideline yesterday, and it actually reminded me of a moment we had at the joint practices in Philly 2 years ago when the official apologized to you for the erroneous false starts that were called on you.
Greatest moment of my life.
You're very happy about it. So when they were doing the kind of on-air offense where you would flip your hat around and were playing some looked like a 3-tech at times there. You were over the guard and the defensive line. But he was working hard on his kick. They were explosive. He did 2 quick kickbacks, and he timed it up perfectly. And the officials were commenting on how quick that was and how well he had timed it. And I was like, he was not. That was not a false start. I said he's just getting trained by Joe Thomas, so now he knows exactly to make it look like a false start, but it's not a false start.
It's not a false start.
Watch the tape.
That's what you want. You want it to look like a false start, but not be a false start.
Yeah. So I want you to know that even because you told him even on a walkthrough rep or an on-air rep, that's where you can fully focus on your technique and your craft. And he did it to the point where the officials like, oh well, that was a great That was a great get off.
That's probably the best thing that I can do to help those guys. DeJuan specifically, but all the offensive linemen is, I've been around the game a long time, practiced a long time here. Like, where are the little places in practice that you don't even realize that you have an opportunity to get better? At a walkthrough, what's my intention? Being intentional with everything you do. Whoa, I got an opportunity, even if I'm not involved in this play, to get 2 really good pass set reps that my brain doesn't know the difference if I'm going against Myles Garrett or I'm going against Air in a walkthrough, but stealing those reps, because offensive line play, there's no secrets to it. It's doing the technique perfect over and over and over again until you can't get it wrong. That's what it is. So where can we find those reps throughout our day?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We'll continue.
Beautiful.
You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Is Gibby ready to administer a mailbag? Is he up for this? Are we going to do the 4-man weave with the luminaries, the great Hoff and the great Z and the great Gibby?
The questions that are coming in are for the Hoff.
Well, you got about 65,000, to be honest.
Well, we can do a mailbag tomorrow too. But
maybe
we've
2
got
hours
the
of
Huff here
mailbag.
now. Fine. Great. Monday and Tuesday next week, too. Brian tweets at the show, question for the Hoff. When you are teaching O-line, what is your philosophy, meaning zone read blocking or something else you believe works best?
For high school?
Doesn't say.
I think the reason zone read is so popular in high school and in college is because it's easy, right? It's kind of the same thing over and over again, like the blocking schemes, the assignments, the calls, the technique. It's very repeatable, and it's kind of the same thing. And for the quarterback, it's pretty easy. Like, he's got his guy he reads, and then when that guy does something, I do this. So it's very concrete and very simple to repeat over and over again. And you can make it hard on a defense because you can line up in different formations and read different guys. But it's very, very simple. I think at the NFL level, it's hard to be that simplistic because there's answers to everything you do. Every play you have on offense, if they knew what it was, they could call a perfect defense and wipe it out. So you can't just do the same thing over and over again. But I think it's a great scheme. When we were in Munich, we started running the Kevin Stefanski offense, play action, wide zone and stuff, and we found that because we didn't have enough time with the guys, they were making too many mistakes. And when you make a mistake in the outside zone because you're changing a blocking combination or an angle at the last second, you have penetration, and then you have a negative yard play. And starting on 2nd and 13 or 14 is tough. And so we just went to the zone read. We went to the RPO, the inside run, the downhill power plays where you're pulling the guard, just the old school football. And, I mean, that's the easiest to learn. And if you are tough and you're a bad dude, like, that's a very, very effective offense to be in.
All right, a few more questions here. Enough from the clown.
Your boy.
By the way, let me tell you something enough from the clown. First of all, Gibby's got a burner in Alaska, apparently. It's outrageous what's going on there. But enough from the clown still getting on me about my lack. I have not been rained on due to my lack of rain gear. It did not rain while we were out there.
My doppel gave him a poncho.
Yeah,
yes.
I think
did
you've won.
A poncho, but I never used it. It was in my back pocket.
Yeah,
you
were wearing it?
It was a reverse Jinx poncho. I only needed it to film something that will never be seen.
We played it today.
With the Huff.
I aired it. It was good.
Oh,
good
audio.
job. You and Mason.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Mason was awesome.
He was fantastic.
I really enjoy him. I've enjoyed watching him. And one of the things Stefanski said in his production meeting that we had with him today is he's kind of leaned up a little bit from college because he was doing more two-gapping and more reading in college, and now this is an attacking defense. They want him to penetrate, disrupt the blocking assignments, knock off pullers, and I think that actually fits probably his skill set a lot better than being a two-gapper because he's not a huge guy. But seeing how he does hold up, like in yesterday's joint practice, it was fun because he's a guy that's hard to block. He's hard to get your hands on him. But when he does sit down and take on a double team, he's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
He's much stronger at the point of attack than you would think based on looking at him compared to the size of other humans that are playing offensive line in the NFL.
Well, he also had that really good rep where they were doing the TE stunt with him and Miles. And I was talking about, Justin Smith, Alden Smith, and obviously Miles is but they were very difficult to deal with in tandem as well as their individual greatness, and there's something there.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch and see how much those guys will travel together in their sub packages, like your third down pass rush packages, because they are going to be a nightmare for offensive lines to have to deal with, right? Because if you slide that direction and you got 3 linemen for those 2 guys, you're still in a world of hurt because you got to double Miles, and then what do you leave Mason one-on-one? I mean, that's a bad matchup for a guard or a center also. So I think you're going to see those guys travel a lot together, run a lot of games, a lot of stunts. And then when you think the stunt's coming, they just give you that one-on-one pass rush rep that's really difficult. And then Jim Schwartz's defense, he's telling those guys, hey, just win. I don't care if you leave your gap a little bit on 3rd and 10. Just win the rep, beat your man, and disrupt what the offense is doing. I can't wait to see those guys out there on Sundays.
A question from the J-Bone on YouTube. on youtube.com/Browns. And I know I'm getting some messages. We had a little bot problem. We're taking care of the bots on the YouTube stream. Has Mike Hall been out there, or is he coming off of injury? What's his status?
He's still working his way back from injury, and we'll see. Hopefully he's out there sooner rather than later. There's some optimism that can be the case.
Let's see. Question for Bo. How good has Jeremiah Smith looked in Buckeyes camp? Is he already consensus placed ahead of Marv in people's minds?
I think if Jeremiah Smith was in the National Football League, was like available for NFL teams, that he would be. I don't think this is an overstatement. I think he would be, by the end of his rookie year, a top 5 receiver in the league. By the end of year one,
top 5. Yeah.
I think he's probably. A buddy of mine who has done recruiting in South Florida forever, 30 years, said that he's Julio Jones when Ohio State signed him. He's actually was better than Julio in year one. There's a lot of Andre Johnson in his game too. He's just a physical freak of nature. His speed is he's the best player in college football, and he'd be one of the best players in the NFL if he were eligible.
So he's good.
Yeah.
Very. Yeah. And 2 more years, by the way.
He's a problem.
2 more years. Lucky for him, though, he's
How's
making
that quarterback?
Making about $4.5 million a year, so he can profit while he's in college.
More than Flacco.
Yeah, he's killing it.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's going to be saying Gibbe. It'll be saying he is
okay. Quarterback competition, not really.
Well, I mean they're having one, but he's. I mean, Sayin is.
Yeah.
Sayin's got the probably the quickest release I've seen of a quarterback that played at Ohio State. He's like Bryce Young, but he's 6'1", 207 instead of 5'10", 195. So got a little bit more size, but he just rips it. It just very effortless coming off his hand.
From Bobby.
Hey, Bobby!
This is a good one for all of you. What food should taste better than its appearance? What food should taste better than its appearance?
Should taste better than its appearance.
I mean,
should taste better or does taste better?
No, I think should. I'll go with one that to me that just never took for me, and it was always forced down my throat as a kid as a dessert during the holidays, was lemon meringue. I cannot stand lemon meringue pie. Some people like it. It's just dry, but it looks beautiful. The frost is beautiful on it. Like the colors are nice, but it just never took for me.
So something that looks good that doesn't taste as good as it looks is what we're saying. I did enjoy for the first time in my life. I would say typically my answer would be something like a flan or a scallop because texture is very important to me, and I just find them odd. But those scallops we had the other night were quite good.
Oh, I love scallops.
I like a scallop too. Yeah.
I would go with like a fondant-covered cake, or like a cake that doesn't have any sugar added, where it looks beautiful and you think it's going to be incredible, and it just has no sweetness whatsoever, and it's just dry and it just crumbles in your mouth. Not good.
Dried out.
People
dried
who
out
make
any
those
food,
hate
any
you.
food that's dried, like a dried, like where ribs are. They overcook the ribs and they look like they come out and they still look like they're going to be good. And then you bite into it and it's like cardboard. You're like, what?
Brisket
here?
Can have that sometimes, right? When you've got a beautifully smoked brisket, it's got that great like meteor look to the outside. It's like that crusty crust bark on it, and then you cut it open and it's just like
like the
turkey,
the Griswold turkey,
the Griswold turkey,
the Griswold turkey.
Eddie sucked it down. He didn't have a problem with it.
That was the first brisket I ever made. I was like,
oh, this is going to be great. Everybody gather around and see how awesome this brisket is.
Yep. What are the songs that make you sing along whenever you hear them? Is there a song?
A billion.
There's many. Too many to mention.
Yeah.
All right. If you could meet anyone in this world today, who would you want to meet?
I know Z's answer, and he can't say it.
I'm going to take away Jeff George, and I'm going to take away Larry. Like, give me someone else.
I don't really. I don't have this big yearning to meet like people I idolized as a kid for fear that it'll disappoint.
Yeah,
I think LD would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's banned me from saying Larry. I think that.
I was going another way of famous person that you'd want to meet. I was going in a very different direction.
Yeah, no, you were right. No, but Gibbe took away Larry David from me as well as yours. I'm going to go. I think it would be really fun to play just a round of golf with John Daly. I think I'd have a blast.
You would, yeah, I think you would.
I don't think it would be a bad time.
I'd like to meet Pedro. I hear so much about him, and he's such a
You
legend
haven't
in
met
my
Pedro?
mind. I've never met him.
Oh my
Burn
God.
the tape. Burn this
Burn
tape.
this. Don't ever
Delete
let
this video. Don't ever let this get light of day. That the
Send-
the person the
great
Hop
Pedro.
wants to meet most in the world is
Famous.
Pedro?
Yes. He's
Oh
very
my
famous in
God.
my life.
I'm not well. Help. Send help.
prepare
Room
prepare to be
748. Send help.
disappointed. Prepare to be disappointed.
Oh my God.
Love you,
that
Pedro.
just happened.
Love you, Pedro.
I'm going to have to tell him that this happened. I'm never going to hear the end of this. It's unbelievable.
I did that also to subterfuge Mr. Segura a little
Everybody's
bit.
after
He's got to deal with that.
He's sitting close to Gibbe. It's like osmosis attack mode. Jeez Louise.
What is the best part of your job? So what
I'm
do you
touched
like the
by that
least
answer, though, on
from
some
Enough
level,
from
huh?
a Clown?
What's the what?
The best part of your job, and what do you like the least?
The people.
Yeah,
the
for sure.
people's
Yes.
definitely the best part of the job, and obviously it's very cool to get to talk about sports for a living. That's amazing. I like everything about it. I mean, it's great. It's great. But the people, to me, like the fact that we're like sitting here in a hotel room together, and we got Bo on the Zoom. We wish he was here.
Yeah.
It's great. I love
It's
it.
the people.
See, the only downside would be like when you are in media, sometimes you do have to do a lot of waiting for players, like doing interviews and stuff. I always try to be respectful, like, hey, if I know they're waiting for me, try to get there as quick as possible. But not all players are as respectful or aware of how things work and how people have to wait for you and have to deal with
That's
you
a good one.
sometimes.
That's a good one.
So, and then sometimes if the team's not doing as well, it's a bit more challenging to discuss, and you guys know all about that. But
I don't know anything about
yeah,
that.
those would be maybe the two things that are a little bit more tricky.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, from Jenko, one thing that you want to see from tomorrow night's game, preseason game number 1, that you're really wanting to see from this football team.
I want to see Shedeur throw it 40 times. I mean, that's what we're all here to see, right?
Yeah, I want to see him. I want to see some big plays. I'd like to see. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the number one thing that you want to see out of tomorrow is Shedeur. And then I think this is like on a much smaller level, significantly so. But you go back 2 years ago when we went to playoffs. Dustin Hopkins was brilliant. He was so good that year. I would love to see him if he kicks. In these preseason games. Just come out and just put him right through the upper. So he's feeling good. We're all feeling good. Because I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago. I mean, of course, how could we forget? Cade York was going through it, and then it was like preseason. It was just like miss. And you were just watching it was hard to watch. And you knew that, okay, this is not going to work out. So I want to see that's just on a much smaller level. Because, I love D-Hop. Great dude. And I think he's –
2 minutes.
kind of surpasses expectations. I think a lot of it is going to have to do with winning close games, and that comes down to making some big kicks.
Hoff?
I'd love to just see follow through from our young players who've done a nice job in training camp, right? Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger, guys like that. Harold Fannin Jr. has had a great camp. You want to see them follow through and be able to do that in a game situation, right? So it's not just manufactured where you got a script, you know what the play is, you know kind of what the defense is going to be, but going out and balling and reacting to what you see and continuing that process where you're building trust as a fan, as a coach, as somebody that's involved and invested in the Cleveland Browns, feeling good about those draft picks and what they've done already, taking that next step.
That's this week's edition of the Mailbag.
The Browns backers from North Jersey who've been good to us had one.
Very good.
Yeah, they had a question for me. You've quoted a line from a movie about nostalgia. What is the line movie? Thanks in advance. It's from Mad Men. It's when he's doing the carousel pitch to Kodak, and he talks about nostalgia, how it's potent.
It sells.
And it sells. Yeah. And so there you go. That's there you go, guys. They're good folks there, so we want to make sure that they get a little love on this as well.
Absolutely.
Hoff, it is great seeing you, my friend, even if it's through a phone, as is always the case. We will do this again tomorrow on it's a game day edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. It's coming tomorrow. It's hard to believe we're already here, but preseason game number 1 will be here tomorrow, and we'll get you set. The next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland.